Starting stream help. Alright. Live. It says I'm live. Wow, that was fast. Interface has improved. Can people see me? Not see me? Not hear me? Live. It says I'm live. Wow, that was fast. Interface has improved. Can people see me? Like, can you hear me? Not see me? Not hear me? Oh yeah, that real quick. It says I'm live. Wow, that was fast. Ready? Interface has improved. Can people see me? Like, can you hear me? Okay, yeah. This is probably getting bad already for everyone else. Hopefully.
Alright, I gotta remember I'm broadcasting, it's very easy to get and just be like, hey. So we're gonna create a new, and what are we gonna make? We're gonna make a laser sword. I'm gonna try not to drop a hard S just in case anyone from Disney is watching. But yeah, we're gonna make a laser sword and have some fun with it. And hopefully, this will be kind of fun. So this is Oculus Medium, and it's an example of why I really like VR, because it allows you to build and manipulate things very easily. What we're going to do here is we're going to start with just basic primitives. Let's do a cylinder. Line constrain it. Oh, yeah, it's on slightly. We want this one actually. How did I do this? Is the volume level, actually I need that low. Some build back. High. Okay, give this another little shot here and see if that works a little better. Alright, let's try that now with the headset on, where my microphone is close to my head. Alright, so for some reason, I swear the last time I had this tube selected, it would, the line tool was a different direction. And there's probably like a way to switch that, and I just don't know. But, you know, that's how it works when you're learning these things, I guess. So one that looks like it's vertically oriented that might solve that problem. Why is it like that? Alright, still just getting set up here. This is just a little practice run stuff. I swear. Alright, well, we'll just use a different thing. We'll use, like 3D print stands for a good starting point, because this is a pretty good laser emitter. And this one at least is oriented the way I want it. So I'm just going to try and intersect that with the top and bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and steady my hand with the other. This should have a... Oh, I hit a button, so I don't have that. There we go. So just about... Let's make it a little bit bigger, actually. Start... Alright, so we got our first piece here. Let's see what the strings look like. Music is okay. Here with the full first time. Set up. I don't quite like how that turned out. Bigger so we get better detail. Well, I think I'm going to increase the resolution of this. Anyway, there we go. Let's see what else we got. This is like the lathe stamp type thing. Soda can. Well, that would work. Very LucasArts. I like how that turned out. Alright. Let's see. Let's find a smaller smaller tool. And just drag through. I guess I can just use a sphere. Let's just start right on. I'll give it a short kind of cool look. The nice thing about laser storage is you can never really mess them up. Going to be a little bit off kilter because there's no good alignment tools in this stuff yet. Like we're looking at Paint 1.0 of VR right now, right? And even at 1.0, this is already useful and interesting. But there's a bunch of different tools out there, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. And this one is great for kind of organic modeling and stuff, but is not so great for structural modeling because it's not like a CAD program. It's more like a modeling app. Let's go to the mechanical section because there's a lot of great stuff on here. This is just lightsaber material all to hell. So let's grab this because it looks awesome. And let's switch it off of line mode. Maybe even just switch it into single stamp. Let's see where can we put this thing. God, I don't like how. Oh, we'll fix that up later. Gotta treat it like an analog medium if it's acting like an analog medium. This looks like it could go on the side somewhere. Let's just put one of these here. It didn't come out as smooth as I'd like. Let's increase the resolution one more step. Why not? Better. I don't want that edge, but we can fix that. Let's just switch to a smoothing tool. Too smooth. Okay, that's a little better. Lightsabers do not have to be comfortable to hold, remember, especially in VR. Let's get some sort of like switch or toggle. Looks like a good one. I want to fix that top thing now, so let's do that. Let's take a cube, switch to subtract mode, and let's just saw the top off of this off. Oh, I'm on one, sorry. Let's move over here where I've got better sensor coverage for the detail. Actually, we can use the smoothing too. Let's do that. Steady stroke it a little bit. Naturally. this. Again, alignment tools go a long way to making this a lot less of a pain. I think Masterpiece has some alignment tools, but I don't like the modeling tools as much. And then like Photon has some really good low poly modeling tools. And there's probably others too. Let's keep that gap. That's kind of cool actually. I like that. Maybe I'll put something in between. Nah, let's float a little bit further. I like that even better. Because why do we have to follow the physical rules when we're in VR? Yeah, maybe we'll even like detach that later, and then we'll have it like float like it'll have it's stabilized or something. I don't know. All right, let's add some more details. Let's go ahead and add some sort of like something like this. Yeah. Alright, that's good. Let's see what people are saying on the chat real quick. Well, this is slow improvement over time here. I'm gonna have a really large checklist for recording here when we're done. Not that I didn't have a large checklist before, it's just my old checklist doesn't really apply to my tools anymore. So, oh, science fiction capsule A. Oh, that would have been a perfect. We're gonna put that on the bottom. Or just like. Or we can resize this at will, so yeah, that gives it a little bit more character. Let's try a little bit. Probably asking too much here. I like it. That kind of makes it beefy. Although I lost kind of the detail that I liked on the clip there. I'm just really bad with this. Alright, let's just put some detail on with like brush. What other tools we got? We've got clay, move, swirl, flatten, cut is dangerous. Let's just keep it on clay and let's just see what we can do here too. I'm gonna freehand some stuff, it's gonna be awful. Oh, it's just not continuous. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Alright, we're gonna make it a lot bigger. it's going to come out to anything good, but I just am curious how manipulating things at a macro scale will affect my ability to do some of these detail works. Certainly a lot more exercise. Radial symmetry would be a godsend right now to any developers taking notes as to what their tools should be. That being said, we're going to be building some tools like these in the show. So specifically, we really are going to be building out a PBR painter because the world needs one real bad in VR, and there is not one yet. And of course, I did not make it back to the middle, but that gives it some character. We'll like add some like thing there or something. I don't know. Now it looks like it's just looks terrible, right? Yeah, doesn't look great at all. But I'm keeping it. All right. I just mainly want to show that, like, oh man, it's really fun to do this. Like the fact that like there's no mess, you can just start modeling things and making things however you want. Actually, let's see what happens when we like remove some sort of pattern or something. It's kind of cool. Maybe another of these here. Belt clip or something. Again, it doesn't have to be useful to be a laser sword. See how it feels. Oh, it's not tall enough, I feel. Yeah, let's make it a little bit longer. Let's find a tool. Do the thing that I'm the worst at, which is aligning tubes. Ooh, that looks like a fun piece. Let's go ahead and just make it nice. There, that actually came out pretty good. Alright. Go ahead and make it a little bit longer though. Strategy didn't work twice. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring out that like smooth tool. Kind of a little bit of a, be real light with the smooth tool. Some of the crunchiness, which is unfortunate, but that's what I'm looking for. Shows you how off axis that one was. Yeah, let's fix that. Looking kind of cool. Not bad for someone who's only used this program like twice. So like it's one of these things where like it becomes really natural to just make things. Yeah, that feels pretty good. It's a little. It's just not quite the right aspect ratio yet. But I think that's probably good now for a test stream. As I said, so the next one. So here's what my plan is. My plan is I'm going to make a Polaroid camera. And what I mean is we're going to model one in here first, and then we're going to take that model into Unity, and we're going to make logic that allows us to take pictures of a scene inside of VR and have the camera spit out images that you can then look at and that are physical objects themselves. And I think that'll be a really good first project. It's actually not terribly difficult, right? Knock on wood. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it'll be a good first start into making tools in VR, because like again, a tool in VR is just like a tool in the real world, right? It's a physical thing, and so you can just basically make real physical things that function. We'll make this lightsaber function at some point too, because it's not fun to have a lightsaber and not have it go vroom, vroom, vroom. Oh, I had some hard LS's in there. What I meant S-A-B-R-E, not S-A-B-E-R, mind you. So Disney lawyers, don't go after me. All right, I'm going to call that a win. Let's go ahead and just save it out. And let's see what people have to say on the chat. That's the type of reactions I want. It's like, people don't know what close to their head. Realize that, Mark. People don't know where VR is already at, and they don't understand that not only is VR here, where we make tools and make stuff for VR in VR, but it's going to be extending to our real world. So, probably the reality. Let's say it's extending to our real world. I'm talking about just that phone stuff, all the last too, saying we're going to be wearing headsets, walking around streets with virtual things, and it's going to be taken for granted just like the cell phone is, and exact same degree. It will be so pedestrian, and yet it will be so wild. Yeah. Let's see. So I guess that's the stream. I know it's a little bit more informal and it's kind of short, but I wanted to. I'm trying to kind of put myself back. I know. It seems like the show's really easy to do, and it is. Like during the good times, it is. But like sometimes it's hard for me to just like get back to it. And I've been through. I'm such a different person than last time you guys saw me. It's for a lot. And but not like a really different. Like I think I'm saying, I'm still a good person. So it's been harder for me to focus and schedule do things in a rigid manner, and so I'm kind of doing more of spot videos here and there, and trying to just do content while I can do it, and not worry about schedule and not worry about like, oh, I missed one, or like when I think I missed something, then I like, oh, this. But yeah. But you still can't hear me? Like right now you can't hear me? Alright, stop the music. It's a lot of talking for not hearing me. Great. I am stupid. I'll just put my headset on and look at things through VR or something. Hold on, how do I do that? What did I just... Nope, that's not working. Well, I will just keep my head up closer to the microphone. Alright, so, yeah, I do have two mics. So I guess I could set up them. Does it support muxing in OBS? It ought to, but I swear I didn't find it last time. Like, I thought it put them as separate, like separate audio tracks. Yeah, honestly, the Oculus stuff is supposed to do it. I have some incompatibility that causes the desktop compositor to not work right, but when it's working right, you can actually pull a window out and put it into VR into your scene. Like, that's actually a built-in feature of Oculus. But that feature is, as I said, I've had inconsistent problems with it and stuff, and it's still like it doesn't like my, I think it doesn't like my graphics card or something. But I have had it work. But I have also had to just do this like error screen a lot. Let's see. Eventually, all this stuff will just be operating system low, right? Like VR and AR and stuff will just be the expected operating system context. And people, think, well, why would I want to use AR and stuff for my context? But like they're not understanding. Like you'd pull up a screen for a lot of your operations, but it's a lot like when command line was the only thing that was around, and when we transitioned to graphical user interface, there were a lot of people that were very comfortable with command line, very fast with command line, and they were like, why do we need these GUI things? I can use this just fine. But GUI introduced more people into computers that weren't able to use computers. And we're seeing that kind of dichotomy right now where you've got people who don't really see what the value future-wise is with this technology because they're not thinking about just using it in an everyday context. And it's really gonna change a lot of just how we expect to interact in the day to day, and change just like what we think of tools. Like I think it's going to dramatically reduce the production of simple tools, because simple tools will be able to replace with virtual tools. Examples of this are like measuring tape. You can replace that. You can just measure the real world with an augmented reality tool, just pulling it out as you would any other a physical tape measure, but it's just a digital, like immersive computing tape measure and holographic tape measure. And we're gonna have things like musical instruments are a good example because any musical instrument you can emulate with hand control, and you could even do like blowing and stuff using microphone and stuff. There's a lot of just like tools that you can just make, or at least make to an extent that they're useful or fun to make things with. Just like you might not use your iPhone for music production primarily, but you may use an app or two and produce some stuff or have some fun with it, and it's the same type of thing, but it'll be in the real world. And if I've met them before, their name appears above their head. Yeah, that will have that. Yeah, the name thing is going to be fixed. Like I already am enjoying that so much in VR, because I like it feels like, so Echo Arena is my favorite game right now, and it's this just amazing zero-G sport thing. But it just drops you into a lobby and you just talk to people and you float around, and it's amazing. But yeah, the just I know everyone's name because it's above their head, and I don't have to know them by like how they look, and that lowers stress for me actually. So it's actually helped my social anxiety a little bit. Is VR has. I've been worked more on AR recently. VR makes it sick. Still, it's always interesting to see why people go with it. Now, VR and AR to me are the same context. Like to me, they're part of the same continuum, which is immersive computing and or holographic computer or whatever you want to call it. Don't call it mixed reality anymore because Microsoft screwed up that term. They made up the term first, and they were just like, "Hey, mixed reality," and I'm like, "That makes sense." And then they're like, "These are mixed reality headsets, and they don't even have cameras that can see the world, so they can't mix with reality." So I don't know why they called them that. HoloLens, yeah, it's an amazing device. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to show some videos of that at some point too, like just to, because even though it doesn't have the interaction, right? Like it has good interaction, You don't need to have any tools to interact with it. Like you can just use your fingers, and you don't have to touch anything to interact with it, which is really, really interesting and cool. But it needs like full hand tracking is what it needs, and eventually it will have like it or some equivalent will have that, and at that point, AR becomes really, really, really cool. Uh, but yeah, VR, the sickness thing is interesting because it's a huge set of problems. Like people call it just simulation sickness or motion sickness, but it's actually a combination of things, right? You've got motion sickness, which is when the headset says that you're moving, but your body says that you're not, and that's the primary one that people are talking about. But then you also have vertigo, like heights are a real problem in VR because your brain will actually interpret VR as height and falling, and you will have the same type of fears. Um, there's all and that can also cause like vertigo can actually just be a physical sensation too. It can be your body being afraid of it, even though if your mind's not afraid of it. And so you'll feel sick. There's also orientation sickness, right? Like flipping the camera upside down will sometimes just destroy some people. There are people that have no problem with the stick moving them in a direction, but as soon as you like rest the camera from horizon, they are unhappy that gravity is no longer saying that they're oriented the way that they are. Um, and uh, and yeah, it's so regarding HoloLens and niche applications, Microsoft is focusing on niche applications for HoloLens because HoloLens can only function as a niche device right now, at the price point that it's at. And we're in a weird world today too, because like it's hard to compare this to the start of the computer revolution stuff because nowadays when something sells like 30,000 units, right? We're like, oh, did you run that on Kickstarter? 30,000, that's slow, right? That sounds like you're a big company and you made 30,000 or something. And like in the old days, 30,000 units. If you sold 30,000 computers, that's a good day, you know. That's a good year. Let's sell some units and stuff. And the internet has changed like the perception of things when they are new. And because of this perception, like people like to throw around terms like failed, failed, failed until something becomes mass market, right? So like the Alto, the Alto computer failed, right? The Apple Newton failed, and yet these devices, if those devices did not exist, if the Alto didn't exist, we wouldn't have GUI as early as we did. We would have had GUI like 10 years later. If well, maybe not 10 years later, but it would have been significant. And if the because that's where both Microsoft and Xerox Palo Alto Research Facility, Xerox Spark, or Xerox Park, they basically made the first graphical user interface was stolen from by Microsoft and well, not stolen, appropriated by Microsoft and Apple, basically independently of each other. Um, where was I going with this? But like these devices aren't failures; these devices are stepping stones, right? And and yeah, it Holland's is an incredible technical achievement, and it's really amazing. And when you use it for a bit, everything starts to click, and it's really pretty wild. Let me put an example. I love surfing the web on HoloLens because I can make the window whatever size I want. So I can just make pictures and videos life size. I can just at will do that. And like orientation can be changed too. Like I can just like, hey, I need a wider view. I want a portrait view on my webpage. You just pull the bottom out and it just readjusts. You're just effectively pulling at the sides of your screen now, and then the screen resizes. It's not something that we are used to now, but it's something that we're going to take for granted in just like a couple years, actually. So it's something we're already taking for granted now in VR. But yeah, um, yeah, there's cool stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, that's probably enough ranting at the end. Thank you guys for joining, and hopefully you guys had fun. Again, it was a little test episode, so expect more content. That's the important thing. Like the content quality is going to be bumpy at first when I get back into the swing of things, but I expect more of it, and hopefully that'll smooth out just with practice. Yeah, actually, I have a terminal for like so any Windows Universal app can work on HoloLens, and there's actually a really good terminal app that I use that I put on my wall, and I can just monitor my like Perforce server and stuff. It absolutely is something that already exists. I can show you a video. It's pretty great. Actually, I will totally I'll totally upload a video of that. I think I've got an old video of that just to show it. It's pretty cool stuff. as I said, I'm going to be showing more future stuff just on this stuff because it's everything that, especially as developers, this is just a godsend of a technology. And as for gamers too, like it's amazing how little you can appreciate a game until it's in VR. Like Skyrim, I've played through it I played it on PSVR a bit, and I didn't play through it, but it's such a different experience, and it's the same game. Like it's the same game, but it is so transformed by the medium that like all of these little details that were just really hard to grok when you're going through on a screen just pop, and like all of a sudden the little stories that happen in each of the little dungeons just like they just are immediately obvious. You look at the body and you're like you just start thinking like a detective. You're like, what caused this? Is like who's fighting who? You look up a book and all of a sudden these stories that were in the books that were pertaining to the missions make sense. You're not getting lost anymore. It's pretty wild. And then of course falling damage looks sensible now because you fall like 4 stories and you're like, I survived that. That's amazing. And you know it's 4 stories. Whereas on a screen it looks like you just fell like a second and why did you die? But it's because you fell a long ways. So anyway, good talking to everyone and hopefully this is safe.